Good evening. This is Tuesday, August 12th, 84 days until the 2008 presidential election. Within 24 hours of the revelation that during her presidential campaign, Senator Hillary Clinton was advised but refused to try to paint Senator Barack Obama as somehow unpatriotic or un-American, comes the first clear, non-nuanced, anything but subtle attempt by the McCain campaign to try to paint Senator Barack Obama as somehow unpatriotic or un-American. The fifth story on the countdown, and it's all been dressed up in the guise of seeming bipartisanship by the politician who defines the age-old warning that there is no zealot like a convert, Republican in everything but name, Senator Joe Lieberman. At a campaign appearance today, Lieberman, a strong ally of McCain's, introduced the senator by saying the race is between, quote, one candidate who has always put the country first, worked across party lines to get things done, and one candidate who has not. The mudslinging then quoted later today in an official McCain fundraising email, the website Talking Points memo reports, despite last month's pledge by McCain's campaign not to question the patriotism of Barack Obama. The strategy of questioning Obama's Americanism, first laid out by Clinton chief strategist Mark Penn in one of 200 campaign memos just obtained by the Atlantic Monthly, about which more coming up. First, the Penn memo, March 19th, 2007. Quote, all of these articles about his boyhood in Indonesia and his life in Hawaii are geared towards showing his background is diverse, multicultural, and putting that in a new light. Save it for 2050. It also exposes a very strong weakness for him. His roots to basic American values and culture are at best limited. I cannot imagine America electing a president during a time of war who was not at his center fundamentally American in his thinking and in his values. Penn's recommendation, a campaign of insinuation to emphasize Obama's, quote, lack of American roots by literally using the word American a lot and waving flags a lot. Quote, we are never going to say anything about his background. We have to show the value of ours. Quote, the right knows Obama is unelectable except perhaps against Attila the Hun, wrote the man whose candidate proved less electable and whose advice helped to sink her. But with McCain now attacking Obama's patriotism, it remains to be seen how deeply he can mine Obama's childhood, during which, even though he did indeed spend part of it in Indonesia, he was raised largely by a single mom and World War II veteran granddad in America. Vital details, insomuch as McCain, too, was raised almost entirely by his mom in a military family and also had an itinerant childhood, and unlike Obama, was not even born in America. John McCain was born in Panama. Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst Howard Fineman, also senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek magazine, who was at today's McCain festivities in Pennsylvania. Howard, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
What happened to the McCain pledge of not questioning Obama's patriotism? I mean, if it does not include patriotism, what exactly does the Americanism mean exactly?
Well, McCain didn't so much just wrap himself in the flag up in York today. He was in it tighter than one of the swimmers in the Olympics in those new bathing suits. I mean, they not only did the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star-Spangled Banner, they did God Bless America again. They did a whole number of things to try to emphasize in York, Pennsylvania, this old colonial town in east central Pennsylvania, the American theme that John McCain is running on. And I was there when Joe Lieberman introduced him and said, you know, we want one guy who puts America first and reaches across party lines, and one guy who does not. And it struck me as fighting words for sure, and it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, the Obama campaign does about it. I asked them for comments. So far they haven't had any. Maybe they feel it doesn't need any. It'll collapse of its own weight.
But if Obama's father were a white Englishman and Obama had attended school in Ireland for a while as a kid, would any of this have any meaning? I mean, is this not all about 6 inches away from being racism?
Well, I don't want to measure it, but I would say that it's about not necessarily specifically or solely race. It's about the idea of mystery and difference. It can take all kinds of forms. It can take allegations of elitism. It can take allegations of religious backgrounds. Race may be part of it. I still don't think if you said to McCain flat out, do you approve of that kind of message, that he would necessarily agree with it or support it. But there's no doubt that that's the implication of what Lieberman said and what Mark Penn's memos are about. As you pointed out, Keith, Hawaii is part of the United States. Yeah. And there's actually an argument about whether McCain can even be sworn in as president, whether he's a natural-born citizen, having been born in the Canal Zone, so at least in literal constitutional terms, McCain ought to be careful here. Obviously, it means more than that. But it was interesting to me to see this event in York, a very traditional town. There are very few minorities in the audience. They had a big crowd, very excited crowd, very few minorities of any kind, and McCain can't win the election just with those voters.
Let's also be clear that whatever it says now, clearly when McCain was born in the Canal Zone, that was considered U.S. territory. So there's not actually a question of it, but it is kind of odd that the guy who was born in essentially South America is questioning whether or not the guy who was born in a United States state is American enough. And the other irony here, was it lost on whoever gave the green light to this inside the McCain campaign? Was it lost on Mark Penn that Americanism, when we wave the flag, we think of it in terms of equal opportunity, no matter heritage, religion, father's income, line of work, and the guy who stands at the back, Mark Penn, and whispers, "This one is not one of us," that's the un-American guy in the standard construction of what this country is?
Well, you just wrote what I think would be a pretty good ad for the Obama campaign, because that's exactly the point. And I think Obama, in many ways, the Obama story is the American story. And certainly if Obama were smart, he would try to push this right back on people like Joe Lieberman, who should know better, if that's what Lieberman meant. I was there listening, and Lieberman said one guy puts America first and reaches across the aisle, and another guy doesn't. Now, he could maybe parse it, but I haven't heard him try to parse it. As a matter of fact, the McCain campaign sent that whole statement out very proudly tonight.
Yeah, there is no zealot like a convert. Howard Fineman, MSNBC political analyst, senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek. Thank you as always, sir.
Thank you, Keith.